All right, good morning, everyone. Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord here. We have a little bit to talk about as we head towards the weekend, and most of it is going to focus on what looks to be our thunderstorm chances as we head into the weekend. So hold on here. Let me adjust a few things. There we go. And all right, now we're going to take a look at what's happening with our thunderstorm chances with the cool, comfortable air that follows it. Plus, we got to get a look at the pollen count because that just came in, and that number is very noteworthy. Well up into the high category, now above 300 with the weed pollen, the highest we've seen so far this season. Ragweed, nettle, and hemp, the main issues there. So that is about the only thing getting in the way of a beautiful weekend. Otherwise, it doesn't look like we'll have any wildfire smoke with the next round of cool air settling in. It's just going to be a beautiful stretch to enjoy. And you can see where we're at here with temperatures that are in the 70s with some high clouds, 76 degrees where we just jumped to at 10 o'clock. Dew point in the mid 60s. That's manageable. We can handle that. And that will go down over the course of the weekend, which is some great news as well. So let's talk about what we have happening with the temperatures, at least in the metro anyway. Pretty uniform, mid 70s for the vast majority of the area. And once you get outside the city, just a little bit cooler on the Iowa side with some low 70s there. Muggy meter, like I mentioned, this is probably overdoing it just a little bit. I can check here and see if maybe the metro dew point's a little bit lower than everybody else. Yeah, mid to upper 60s and the high end of the muggy range, probably where we're going to end up with our dew points today. Now, clouds are increasing. That's one of the reasons why we backed off from the high temperature of 93 today. Yesterday, we plateaued oddly in the afternoon, about 3 o'clock. Got to 88 and just kind of stayed there. Now with these clouds moving in, I'm worried we're going to do the same. And that we took 93, backed it off to about 90 today. I know you're really bummed about it, but you don't have nearly as much heat and humidity to worry about today. This is the main thing to keep an eye on. Now it's a 1 out of 5 on the scale. You're probably thinking not a big deal, but no, any thunderstorm, all it takes is one. There was one storm on the map that Saturday morning a few weeks ago that rolled through the Lincoln area up through Elkhorn, Bennington, and Blair. And well, I don't expect anything quite of that scale, but I just reiterating the fact that all it takes is one. And we'll be keeping an eye on the storm development after 5 o'clock today, because that's where wind gusts and some hail potential are possible from a storm or two. Basically, the best way to describe this is we're going to get some thunderstorm development. Among the scattered storms, there could be 1 or 2 that pick up some intensity with a little wind and a little hail, and that's what we'll focus on here. So the hail potential, the wind potential showing up there as we break down the severe weather risks on the map. Tornado threat unlikely with this round, the way things are playing out at this point. But again, you can tune into Jade and Bo later on today. They're going to take you through the latest with these storm chances as we get a little closer to the evening and be right there warning you on TV and online with any changes and any severe warnings that come out. So model's doing a pretty good job of keeping all the rain to the north. Notice by 3 o'clock, maybe a little bit sneaking in to the Norfolk area. Again, far fringes of our viewing area. It looks like by about 3 o'clock. Otherwise, we're looking at probably wait until 4 or 5, and you see that cluster of storms there to the north. Denison, west central Iowa there. That'd probably be the earliest one to watch for. Still be north of the metro. Then again, some scattered development towards 6 and 7. Notice how there's not a ton on the map, but anything that can get going has the potential again to kick out some wind gusts and maybe a little bit of hail. Towards 10 o'clock, you can see a few new ones develop and drop south. And again, not great coverage, but a couple on the map trying to be troublemakers. Towards midnight tonight, still could have a couple on the map, and then the chances should drop south pretty quickly after that. Some models have been hinting at storms possible as late as about 3 a.m. I think that's a little too late, and most of those should be long gone, giving you a little quieter sleep into the early morning hours of Saturday. When we're right around 70, I think we'll fall off into the upper 60s by the time it's all said and done Saturday, and then the really good stuff rolls in. But if you're wondering about rainfall potential, you got to catch one of the thunderstorms to get anything significant. So that's the downside. If you get some heavy rain, you're likely going to get a severe thunderstorm. If you get any significant half-inch plus rainfall, you're likely have to deal with a severe thunderstorm along with gusts that could get to 60 miles per hour and some hail potential as well. So that's what we'll be tracking short term with the thunderstorms tonight. You can see here the muggy meter as we go through the course of the day tomorrow drops off during the morning hours. Notice how that muggy meter tanks during the morning into the pleasant and refreshing range, and it's going to be one beautiful day on the way for Saturday. Clouds should clear out Saturday. Everything's pointing to a great day on the way as those clouds move out, and we will see temperatures by noon try to climb up near 80 degrees, I think by 3, 4 o'clock. That's what we're looking at, and beautiful sunshine and a great Saturday evening on the way. Then Sunday, 78 for the high, and could have a few more clouds the way things are looking with that on Sunday. The muggy meter then for the foreseeable future, Sunday into the early and middle portion of next week, still has potential to drop off quite a bit and stay pretty darn low through the course of this upcoming week, which is great news. But what are the temperatures like, you may ask? A lot of 70s to right near 80 degrees into the early part of next week. And you can see even beyond that, as it tries to warm up, we'll go to about 83 on Wednesday, 86 on Thursday. So mid-80s at worst by the end of this stretch. Just know when we have this cooler, drier air roll in, it does this time of year tend to heat up a little bit more because we have quite a bit of sunshine, still have pretty high sun angle, and that can take the dry air and turn it around and warm it up pretty quickly. Now, if you're heading down to Kansas City for that game at Arrowhead, big one between Nebraska and Cincinnati, first one of the season, everybody's amped, ready to go. It's next Thursday, and the good news is it's at 8 o'clock. I think A, for the temperature, and B, for any rain chances. Now, there's going to be some rain, it looks like, on models well to the west in parts of Kansas. Some models drag the clouds and the rain in and keep it a little cooler. Others tend to keep those west and heat us up a little bit. I went the warmer, drier route. I think that rain could end up struggling to stream east. The wild card are the clouds. I think we'll be able to surge into the 80s to near 90 for a high. But remember, it's an 8 o'clock game down there. So if you're heading down, right now I'd say warm to start, into the 70s by the end of the game, which, again, the end of that game could be close to 11, 12 o'clock at night. The way things go with some of those football games, especially since it's the first one. But we'll keep an eye on this forecast, see how it evolves through the weekend into the early part of next week, because I could see more clouds being added to this and maybe even a greater chance of rain if anything starts to slide to the east off the rain chances to the west. So right now we'll go on the warm side and see how things adjust. But there you go, short term. And we'll see how things go beyond that into the early part of September. Again, that weekend you see there is the start of Labor Day weekend. We'll have Labor Day on the forecast by later on this afternoon.
Possibly AM, 47-year-old female. Says she's 47, then she says she's 21. She's slightly